Hello again. Here we are, winter, and you can see behind me the lack of leaves on the trees. I want to return at this point to the topic of safety data sheets, which I first brought up in October, I think it was, when I was talking about the misuse, as I saw it, and still see it really, of SDSs in the transport chain. This is the one subject that I've had more feedback than everything else put together. And I did do a follow-up video about that a few weeks ago, and I got some more feedback from that. And in particular, I had a nice or interesting conversation with Ben from the Sporting Arms and Ammunition Manufacturers Institute, SAMI. Ben has a lot of input both to the UN Transport Dangerous Goods Subcommittee and to the GHS Subcommittee. So he's got an interesting perspective on this because, of course, this safety data sheet is really the implementation of requirements that are in GHS. And we spoke about the suggestion that maybe there's a need for another document, a transport safety data sheet, for instance, which he thought was probably not a good idea. Nobody wants another piece of paper, and that really the experts in Geneva aren't that interested in looking at this all over again. But while we were talking, it struck me that the SDS is an element of hazard communication. In the States, for instance, it falls under OSHA's HAZCOM rule. And it's designed to provide information to downstream users in the supply and use, as we say, sectors. That's to say, in the workplace, in retail, in domestic and institutional use applications. Now, you may well ask, do we expect the average householder with a stack of stuff under the sink with GHS labels to actually understand a safety data sheet? And I'd have to say, well, I don't think so. So what use it is in that application, I don't know. But on the other hand, it does contain a lot of information that's of use in the transport sector. But then, of course, in the transport sector, there is a whole host of hazard communication elements. It's not just the labels and placards and other marks. It's not just the documentation. It's the identification of the type of packaging that's used, or the type of tank that's used if it's going as bulk. All of which provide information along the chain to people who know what they're talking about. Now, of course, that relies on people within the supply chain being adequately and properly trained, which comes back to other topics that we've talked about in the past. So while I think there are some aspects of the safety data sheet that are of interest to some people in the supply chain, it's not all of it that's relevant. And of course, if the original manufacturer has just downloaded sort of more or less appropriate safety data sheet off the internet and stuck its name on it, what good is that? Where is the enforcement of safety data sheets? Now, that's the question I'd like to ask. And if you've got any views on that, I'd like to hear from you. That's it for this week. Look forward to seeing you next week. I hope I'll be somewhere warmer. Bye for now.